This podcast was recorded on the land of the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation.
Guys, welcome back.
Hey.
To another week of Mad About You. Wherever you are in the world, we appreciate you checking in and listening. Now, this week we are a couple of days post-Halloween here in Australia.
Ooh.
So that wasn't even a sound effect. That was just Jad. So we thought we'd bust into all things supernatural. We're talking ghosts, demons, mediums, whatever it is. We've got a couple of cool ghost stories from some listeners, which Jad and I will
excited.
Dissect. All of them were actually sent through to me, so I haven't actually read them out to Jad. So she'll be hearing them for the first time.
Yes.
And then our Ask Mum and Dad this week is from a gentleman actually who wrote in about stopping seeing someone after a couple of dates and, you know, sort of giving them a little bit of clarity why, but then that person wanting a little bit more clarity and wants to know whether or not he owes them that clarity.
The old dating breakup, but not quite
even,
together.
Not even really a breakup.
Yeah.
But before we get stuck into those things, I do have a little bit of a creepy story to start the episode off. Now, this one was actually from a listener which came in, which was great timing around Halloween, so we could link it with this creepy episode. But yeah, she sent me this story and I thought I should share it because I'd never actually thought that this could happen before. So here goes. It says, "Hey, Lachie and Jad, I have a weird story, but it's not a dating one, but something interesting that happened to me and my friend over the weekend. If you're running out of ideas to start the podcast off with, use this. My friend and I went to Sydney for the Olivia Rodrigo concert that was happening. We booked accommodation close to the city, kind of in a dodgy area, but the hotel looked quite nice. When we got there, my friend and I started talking to the receptionist. We're both very chatty when we are together, and so of course we were just talking to be nice about Sydney and all the things you can kind of do here. She gave him her license because we had booked through an external website. We then went to our room and then just went to the concert. When we arrived at the concert, my friend got a friend request on Instagram from the receptionist, which is kind of weird because the only way he could get her last name was because of her license. He started texting her, in which she never really replied, except for a question asking how the Olivia Rodrigo concert was. We thought he was kind of creepy, but he was also only a few years older than us, so maybe he was just being friendly. The next day, we explored Sydney and we chatted to him a bit more just to be polite because he was at the desk on the way in and out of the hotel. Then she got a message asking when we were all going to go out together, which we thought was really weird. We ignored it and then we headed to a bar, just my friend and I, for the night. He then texted again and told my friend that he was going to ask me out. We replied that I had a boyfriend, but he wouldn't let it go, saying how we were the prettiest people he had ever met. We ignored him until he sent us a picture of him outside our room with a package. Then we were really scared. No. He knew our room number and definitely could access it through a key. My friend and I were pretty drunk at this point, so we didn't really think about how horrible this was, and we should have reported him, but we went back to the hotel, ran into our room, and just locked the door. Inside the package was a block of Kit Kat with a note saying sorry to bother you. We woke up that morning to many messages from the guy that we just didn't open. Luckily, we were leaving that day. We both told our families and they were all very worried, and now we are rethinking the whole situation. We realize how weird it truly was." And she actually sent me a photo of the Kit Kat and the note from this guy.
What?
But
that's so beyond creepy.
Yeah, I've never thought about having a bit of a dodgy person work in an environment where you have access to like people's rooms and stuff. Like
that's so
and that kind of made me think like, yeah, I wonder what sort of like vetting process gets done on people that work in hotels that just have.
I'm sure none.
You know,
I'm sure it's just
to,
like, are you qualified for the job? I don't think they'd go into like the history of their lives and. Yeah,
but that I just thought
that's really strange.
Super strange that. Yeah, after, like you'd think that after you ask people out or you send them heaps of messages and they stop replying, you'd think you get the gist. Maybe these girls aren't in town looking for a night with a dude and they just want to spend time together. And then to go to their room and look her up, which is already weird because you've got a last name from somewhere and then you've left a package at their door and like. I just think how uneasy that
creepy.
would make some. It's not like management leaving you a bottle of champers because it's your anniversary or something. It's like the dude's gone and looked up your room number and left you a creepy note and a chocolate to say sorry.
Did they end up? I need to know Did you ask any questions? Like, did they end up reporting this person?
I actually wrote back to her and I said,
Yeah.
I know that you didn't in the moment, but I actually still think you should.
Oh, yeah, of course,
Yeah,
100%.
I said, look, I would actually probably get in touch with the hotel and just let them know because, you know, there might be girls that stay there by themselves, you know, that don't have a friend, and it's an even more terrifying situation for someone who encounters that by themselves late at night when they're in a foreign city and don't know people or don't have, you know, access to help around. So I did actually mention to her that I think you should after the fact, get in touch with the hotel and
if
even if you can just describe them.
If you're listening, 100% call the hotel and let them know. I'd go as far as calling the police. That's weird. That's giving me icky.
Yeah.
Tingles down the spine.
So, be careful who you, I guess, give your license to at hotels now.
Do you remember when we woke up at 4, 5 a.m. once someone had walked into our room? Do you remember that?
I do remember
in
that. In
Melbourne?
Actually. Yeah.
That was one of the most terrifying moments of my life. And the poor guy was just this older guy who'd like gotten in to the hotel from an early flight or whatever and was just trying to get to his room and they'd given him the wrong room because they switched our rooms over in the beginning when we got there. They'd given us a different room and he just walks in the middle of the night while we're asleep and he's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, and closed the door.
I do remember that.
Yeah, and we had to go to reception and be like, hey, you guys gave our room key to a stranger who walked in on us sleeping.
That's all right. That's an honest mistake. You can't get angry at them for that.
That's a mistake you probably shouldn't be making.
Yeah, but that's our little creepy story
that was creepy.
Start this week's episode, guys.
Glad you guys are safe.
Yeah, look out for each other out there.
So, guys, it was Halloween last week, and Locke and I are thinking about all things spooky and scary, which has prompted us to ask you guys for your ghost stories. But before we get into them, I actually have one of my own. It's a short one, and it's not, it's mild compared to some that you're going to hear from. I actually haven't heard them, but from what Locke's described to me.
From what she can only guess. People have,
But I was, it was me and my sister and my friend, and we were with our parents at the time, and we were kind of house sitting for another friend. I can't quite remember the scenario, but we were young, and it was very cliche, but it was a stormy evening. There was lots of lightning, lots of thunder. And we were a little bit frightened because, it was loud and scary. And we were in this big open house. It was a warm evening, so like these big bifold doors were open. Anyway, we're just carrying on, and our parents are in some other room or on a balcony or something, and we're in another space of the house, just the three of us. And we all heard this noise at the exact same time, and it was very prominent and loud, and it sounded like a human voice, and it basically was this really low, loud kind of grunt, and it was like a sound. Like I'm not doing it justice, but it sounded.
Those stories aren't meant to be funny. Why are you laughing?
It was echoing through the house, basically. Anyway, and we all looked at it. A few seconds. We all looked at each other afterwards and went, "What the hell was that?" And we thought, was it a dog? Like, was there a dog outside? Like, we were trying to figure out what it could possibly be. Anyway, we were all very spooked. And once it happened and we all kind of looked at each other and froze for a second, we ran to our parents because we were very scared and told them what had happened. And both of our parents were the kinds of parents who would maybe perhaps believe that it could have been a ghost. So they weren't really standing there saying, no, it wasn't. They were like, really? What happened? And kind of enabling the whole situation, which probably made us believe it even more. Anyway, that happened, and then when we went to leave the house, this is the weird part, my sister's shoes had gone. They disappeared.
Well, so the dog stole them?
There was there was no dog, ever. She didn't ever take the shoes outside of the house. She left them in one place where we all left our shoes, and her shoes were missing, and we never found them. The people who own the house never found them. The shoes were just gone.
Wait, so your idea of a ghost story is you hear one noise that could have been anything. You've started by saying it was a stormy night. All the doors in the house are open. Therefore, like, there's, crosswinds going through. Yeah. All it takes is like a door creak or, wind to blow through somewhere
it wasn't
to make
a creak.
A noise.
We knew. All of us knew it was a voice, and then the shoes went missing. So we think there's like a ghost dad who maybe has a ghost kid, and the ghost kid needed some shoes. So...
Have you ever heard about the concept of a false memory? and how memories change over time?
No, but I don't like where you're going with this.
Okay, well, I just want to. So you actually told me this story when we started talking about the pod, and you told me in that version that your mum and friend came running to you guys and said, "Did you guys hear that?"
No,
but in that version of the story, you just said that you went to your parents and said, "Hey, did you guys hear that?" So you've literally told me in the span of 2 days 2 different versions of the same story.
But I remembered incorrectly, and then when I thought about it, I was like, "Oh, hang on, no, that's not right. I remember now."
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying is a false memory is that you could have remembered heaps of
the first
bits
one
of that
was
story
false.
Incorrectly over time,
This
and then it warps into this thing
This
that
one was
didn't
the real.
actually even happen.
I remember I was there.
And I'm confused. You guys could have gone to the park in the afternoon. Your sister left her shoes there, and then when she went to leave the house later in the night, realised that she didn't have the shoes.
We didn't. She put her shoes on. We got to the house. She took them
You're
off.
making stuff up now.
It happened, sweetheart. Let's hear some others.
No, let's talk about just the supernatural in general first, and how she's a firm believer that ghosts exist, demons haunt our house. We need to leave lights on to stay safe.
I never said demons haunt our house. If they did, I would have moved by now. But I do have an irrational fear of demons. Yeah.
I like the use of that word, irrational. At least you're honest.
I know that all my fears are irrational. I'm not scared of rational things like heights or what are other people scared of? Snakes. I don't care about that. Demons? Yes. What else? The dark? Yes, for some reason. Terrified. Because that's when the demons come out. Yeah.
So your idea of countering the demons is to leave a light on in the house?
Honestly, yeah. They're scared, deathly afraid of light. I know they are.
Don't you reckon that would lead them to you?
No, because they see better in the dark.
Wait, that's proven?
They have permanent vision.
Okay. All right. Yeah, Jad's a firm believer of this stuff, and we've had countless conversations where I honestly try to get the bottom of it. And I go, like, I don't understand where these fears come from. Like, did something happen as a kid? Like, have you had a certain experience that you can tell me? And she really can't. She just holds these.
I don't know why, but I remember ever since I was young, I was scared of everything. I was actually scared of the letter X on Sesame Street. It was xylophone, and the way they said it was really creepy. And there was a smoke machine, I remember, and the letter X came out, and he was wearing like a robber outfit, you know, the black and white stripes, like the Hamburglar. And he came out, and it was like xylophone, and that haunted me. And I remember I'd be so scared that whenever my sister and I had an argument, she'd say xylophone to scare me.
This pod's gone a direction I did not see it going, guys. It's not very scary yet.
Xylophone. I think we need a grown-up.
But all right, Jad wants to tuck into some of these ghost stories that you guys have sent in. So let me bring one up.
I'm so excited.
Okay. The first one says, back in high school, I'm 29 now. Myself and my friend were sleeping at another friend's house, and she had gone to bed early. Her parents weren't home, so we decided to stay up and just sat on the couch in complete darkness on our phones. I felt this random gust of wind and saw a white blur in front of me. We both looked at each other and said, "Holy shit, did you see that?" Once we realized we both felt and saw the same thing, we grabbed the blanket and threw it over ourselves. We sat there for a few minutes, working up the courage to run to the bedroom, and on our way there, this literal white person figure ran past us. When we closed the bedroom door, our friend woke up and we were both like, "Oh my God, you will not believe this, but we literally just saw a ghost." And she replied, "Oh yeah, that's just my grandma. I see her now and again." Her grandma had just recently passed away.
How can you not believe in ghosts after that? Like how?
Wait, how is that evidence of a ghost? Seeing a blur.
What do you mean?
In the dark.
That is a ghost. That's exactly what a ghost is.
Wait, why?
Well, that's like every depiction of a ghost ever.
Oh, okay.
Have you seen Casper, the friendly ghost?
Yeah, he's like
it's
a floating,
white, blurry, glowy
cloud.
thing. Yeah.
Wait, so that story...
But they both saw it, and then the third person was like, "Yes, confirmed. Grandma's here."
Okay. Have you heard of the concept called mass hysteria?
What are you talking about?
Well, I'm trying to explain these things to you scientifically so you don't actually believe these stories.
There's no science in this.
There's almost always an explanation for something, and if there's not, it doesn't make it paranormal.
You've
it just
said
means
almost
that it
always.
Can't be explained.
That's not always.
Yeah. I'm saying Okay, so there's plenty of experiments that have been done, right, where they've got groups of people together. And I'll give you one from, it was like
I hate that you've done research into the science of ghosts.
It was a psychology university in Britain, right? And they got a group together of people and they planted one actor and it was meant to be like, you know, do paranormal things happen?
All right.
And they were sat in this room and they were all meant to stare at this table. And then the actor perked up and said, I just saw the table move. And his job was to convince people that the table moved. And he convinced a third of the people in the audience that the table moved, even though it didn't. He was a planet actor. So as in people that already have preconceived beliefs about things, so like supernatural and stuff, like if someone else says something, they'll just go along with it. So as in that could have happened with this
But they
girl.
both had the same reaction and then their friend confirmed who the ghost was.
Oh my gosh.
That's more than just, did you see that? Yeah, the table moved. That's different.
No, it's not. It's just saying that people go along with things. Also, if hypothetically this person's grandma just passed away, like certain things happen like when you're grieving, like your body and your brain literally work in different ways. So
But her friends weren't grieving the grandma.
Yeah, but they're also in the pitch black, they said, looking at their phones.
I believe
so you know
you
when
guys.
when you look at a light and then you like look somewhere else, like the light might stay like emanating.
But she
through
said
your...
it touched her. The light doesn't touch.
What do you mean?
Explain
it touched
that.
her?
Who's touching the shoulder? Who's brushed on the shoulder?
I don't remember anyone brushing any shoulders.
Yeah,
in
she
this
said the
story.
shoulder was brushed, and then she saw the glowing white light of grandma's past.
Wait, so you hearing that story, you go, holy moly, those poor girls, they've just experienced a ghost.
Yeah, 100%.
Why can't people ever capture these ghosts? Like
Because they come like this. They
we all
go,
got
they
4K
go like
cameras.
flash. They go, and then they're gone. And then also, you're too scared to pick up the phone.
Yeah, but houses have like, you know, a lot of cameras, security footage. Like, why are we never capturing these? Do you know those?
Maybe they don't show up on camera because they're clever.
Yeah, okay.
I want another one. Go.
Wait, another question. Are only humans ghosts?
Don't know.
Like, can you have a dog ghost?
Did anyone send a dog ghost
No,
story?
I'm just asking. What is your belief? I'm asking what your belief is.
I think it depends. Did the dog have a soul?
What's a soul? What do you mean?
Like, was it maybe a human trapped in a dog body?
No, I'm just asking. Like, do you reckon it can only be humans ghosts, or can you have like a horse ghost or a dog ghost?
I
Like,
feel
what's
like
your-
a dog
what's-
ghost is more likely
Just
than a
what's your
horse
opinion
ghost.
on it? Okay, so some animals aren't worthy of turning into ghosts, but some are. What about like bacteria ghosts? Are you laughing because you're starting to realize how stupid ghosts are? Or?
Wait, I'm crying everywhere.
What's a living organism? Like, why can't it turn
No,
into
I
a
think
ghost?
some living beings are deserving of being a ghost. Like, if you're a cockroach, probably not.
Wait, so it's a worthy thing. So this, like, what do you need to do in life to be worthy of coming back and living in this?
I think if you're a bad person, you come back as a cockroach. You don't get to be a ghost.
What are you talking about here?
That's circle of life.
That's the circle of life. If you're a bad person, you come back as a cockroach, and then you die and you can't come back as a ghost.
I didn't bring a beauty blender. I can't fix this.
That's fine. It looks good.
Oh, no.
All right, so that story just sounds totally plausible to you, and you're wanting to get in touch with these girls and hear more about it.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
I'm going to DM
All right.
them off your phone later.
All right, I'll give you another one.
Okay.
My supernatural story. As a little kid, we moved into this new house. It was just after Christmas, so I had all new toys and my room had just been set up. I woke in the middle of the night to find a little girl with two pigtails
No.
standing
No.
standing at my new drawing table that was set up at the end of my bed. She was facing away from me. She was wearing a nightie and drinking a glass of something.
Aw.
It was absolutely terrifying. I very quickly jumped up onto my sister's bed and the little girl remained there sipping her drink. Many years later, my mum went to a spirit person, can't remember what they're called, but the ones that speak to dead people, I think they're mediums, and they mentioned this encounter and said the little girl was lost and she was looking for the old owners because they would speak to her. It was a very weird experience.
How did the medium know about that story?
It said that the mum went there and told her.
No, it doesn't say that.
That's how mediums work.
It doesn't say the mum told her.
Yeah. So you would go to the medium and go, hey, my daughter had this. You don't just go to the medium and go, what do you got for me?
That's what I'd do.
What do you got? Yeah.
Prove that it's real.
You'd be running out real quick because they'd have nothing. They'd go, has something freaky happened to you recently? And you go, oh my God, actually, yes. And they go, that's why
I
you're
need
here.
clarification on that one. But did the sister see the kid? I'd like to know.
Yeah, but that's the thing. She doesn't mention the sister, right? She goes, I jumped on my sister's bed.
Did your
Sister was probably the one having the drink.
Yeah. Look, that one sounds a bit. Oh my God. The first one had 3 people confirmed ghost sight. This one's just one, and you're a little person, and but I reckon if I saw that in the middle of the night, I'd tell my mum we need to move again. Sorry, we're moving.
Yeah, but do you?
Oh my God! Here's a
believe
question
that
for
is
you.
a ghost,
Fletcher
or?
wakes up middle of the night, walks into the room. I saw little person at my bed. What do you do?
That's your brother. We had him 18 months ago. I don't know.
Seriously, like he says, I've seen a ghost. What are you gonna
I'll say,
do?
Come have a cuddle, and I'll explain to you scientifically how they're not real.
That's
little
all?
Man. Yeah. What do you mean?
I'm on domain.com the next day. We're moving.
Yeah, but this also happens with supernatural stuff and ghosts, right? It's that if you, as a kid, like hear stories, are told stories, like you sort of grow up with it and you sort of believe them. Then when things happen, it feeds that fear. So like if something happened and he, saw something in his room, or it was a shadow, or his curtain looked like a certain shape, and you told him that ghosts and demons exist, his brain goes there. Whereas if he's not brought up sort of believing those things, then he won't go there.
I won't enable him, but I would conveniently move house. Yeah.
I really hope this doesn't happen, because that's a huge inconvenience.
We'll just have to sage the door frames.
Yeah. Will that do it?
Apparently.
Does that scare the ghosts?
Ghosts hate sage and lights.
They hate sage.
Yes.
Why?
I don't know.
So you just, when you hear something, do you ever look into it? Or do you just go, well, that'll do me. Sage. Like, do you look at, I wonder why they don't like sage, or,
I think it's just historically, that's what people have used to get rid of the bad spirits. But if it's a good spirit, maybe it would stay. Like the little girl didn't do anything wrong, right? She was just trying to find
her
a
sister
friend.
having a glass of milk in the middle of the night. But that's what so not as freaky, that one?
No, look, I think it's harder. The kid ones are harder, although I find them at the same time more believable, because I think kids have more of these spirit encounters than adults.
Wait, kids also have a wilder imagination.
Yeah.
And also,
I think we need to stop discrediting children and what they're seeing.
oh, okay.
We need to listen to them more. They're very clever, very switched on.
Holy moly. We should have had some of these conversations before having a kid.
Okay, next
All right, next story. All right, I've had a few supernatural encounters. Oh, a few. From age 6 to 26, I grew up in a 1900s miner's cottage, one of the first in a small country town. We would regularly hear walking or running through the house after 11 p.m, with doors opening and closing. On 3 occasions, objects were moved, such as the furniture on the veranda or washing baskets put upside down. One time, the thread spindle on my sewing machine started spinning. It wasn't even plugged in. Never were we hurt, so figured they were friendly. Everyone in the family had an experience with the ghosts, and some friends who came over. When my younger brother was about 12, he was home alone, and I got a phone call from him whispering, saying there was someone in the house, moving around in the kitchen and opening and closing doors. I had to tell him it was just the ghosts and that they're friendly, and guided him out to scope the house. Of course, no one was there.
Do you believe that one?
I don't believe any of them.
But there's so many people that have come and gone.
Okay, I don't not believe that someone experienced noise in their house, or like a washing basket being turned over. Like I don't think you've lied to me
The
about
washing basket isn't. It's not
about
convincing
your
me.
furniture being moved or something.
What about the sewing machine being on without any power?
No, it just said it moved. How does
It was on. It was doing the thing.
How does a sewing machine work?
With electricity.
No, but as in, like, if the threads if the thread is rolled up through it, you could pull the thread and the needle would start like moving. Like it doesn't need.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Think about something being like wound up.
Well,
and then
so
you pull it.
someone's gone in and yanked a thread.
No, but as in like anything could move it. A rat, it could have got caught on a rat's foot and it run. Like as in anything.
That sounds
possible.
less
Normally,
likely than a ghost.
Yeah, okay. An actual animal. Beautiful. But as in it doesn't, just because
I
you
believe
hear
this one
something-
more than the little girl one.
Yeah, but did you hear how they also said like all our family experienced something?
Yeah.
So like, yeah, if you've got your like nan and pop telling you stories since you were a kid of ghosts and then you're in this house and you hear a noise, your mind's going to go, oh, it's the ghost that nan told me about. It's not going to go like, oh yeah, we live in the 1900s house. Maybe a few screws are loose. Maybe a few doors are rickety, you know?
I think one little thing is sure, you can discredit one little thing or sound or noise, but if it's regular and everyone's experiencing it, it's harder to.
Wait, so if you're regular experiencing noise in your 1900s house, you know, I reckon if you
What
went
about
around...
footsteps? You know what footsteps, when I hear you walk through the house, it's definitely footsteps instead of like a creaky sound. Like, you know, right? Like, we have floorboards that are creaky and they're quite echoey. Like, you can hear them. If you're downstairs, I can hear you upstairs. Loud and clear, loud as day.
Yeah, okay.
So...
But are you saying that if ever the floorboard creaked and I wasn't home, you'd think that it was a ghost?
For footsteps, yeah, I would go, well, no. The neighbours I can hear walking, so I think it's them.
Yeah, but as in, you know, floorboards might creak because they're made of wood and they expand and get, you know, smaller at times. So as in...
No, but not
there's normally
footsteps creaking.
explanations
Oh, come on.
What do you mean? That's not an argument.
No,
saying,
get with
come
the
on.
program.
Okay. So that's a ghosted house as well.
Yeah. I'm sus on one of them.
Which one?
The little girl one.
Yeah, it was her sister, wasn't it?
Could have been.
Yeah.
Could have been. And now that you've, you know, once you explain the other one a little bit, sus on.
All right. So do you still believe in ghosts and paranormal activity?
It would be hard for me to all of a sudden not after 29 years of believing. Yes.
But your only experience was the hearing a noise once and shoes going missing. And from that day forward, you were like, oh my gosh.
No, that wasn't the catalyst. I believed in them long before, like around xylophone era. I was 4.
But nothing has happened to you that's like confirmed that or like reaffirmed it or cemented it in your mind.
I would just say that I'm a bit more spiritual than you are.
Okay, lovely. I think it's just a bit more make stuff up in my head.
Me, I
Yeah.
am. Sometimes it's nice to live there, though.
All right, guys, if you are not too freaked out and you're still with us after those insane ghost stories, our Ask Mum and Dad this week came in and says, hey guys, I recently went on 2 dates with a girl. We got along, had a lot in common, and even had a kiss after the first date. After the first date, I wasn't totally sure if it was right for me long term. I decided to go on another date just to make sure. After the second date, I realized she wasn't my person. I sent her a nice message explaining that I had a lovely time and it was nice to meet and hang out, etc., but just didn't see it being a forever thing. Wished her all the best with upcoming things that we'd spoken about and left it at that. She messaged me back and wanted me to explain with more clarity as to why I didn't want to be with her. My question is, do I have to respond and should I respond?
Well, you already have. You've already told her.
Yeah, I feel like he's done like quite a nice thing. I don't think that... I reckon if you surveyed people on dating apps, I reckon majority of them would just say that if they didn't want to see anyone anymore, they'd just ghost them.
Ghost them, yeah. I think you're right. I think that's probably more the norm these days. Although, that would suck though.
What would?
Just being ghosted after going on a date.
Yeah, but she hasn't been
No,
ghosted.
I know. I was just thinking about it. I think he said all he needs to say, right?
I agree. I think he's done a nice thing already, like reaching out to her and letting her know.
Yeah, how do you further explain to someone that you're not interested?
Well, I sort of asked that question. I said, like, you know, what did you say in the message? And, like, what did she say? And he sort of said that she quizzed him on, like, we had such a good time and, like, I thought we were getting along and, like, you know, we had a kiss and you asked me out on a second date. So, like, I thought you were interested. So, like, why? Like, she didn't really understand. But I feel like he gave a pretty good reason. He said, like, I went on a second date just to sort of see, and then I realized that, it's not a long-term thing for me, and that was that. But yeah, I feel like it's quite a nice message to receive.
Yeah.
Like, I would be happy if I used to go on dates, and if someone wasn't vibing me, if they said like, hey, look, I had a really nice time, but like, probably not going to be a third date. I feel like that's the closure enough, right? Not hey, I'm waiting for you to message for 2 weeks.
I understand wanting to know more though. Like, especially if you've kind of vibed and gotten along well and you've had a second date and you've had a kiss and then you've gone, oh, this feels like it's out of the blue a little bit. Like, I'm not really understanding why, apart from someone saying that you're not my person, but why? Why am I not your person? So I do get that.
What if he's trying to save her feelings because maybe the answer would hurt her feelings?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm deducing that's what's going on. It's just something's not quite clicked, or the ick has appeared, or
For ick after 2 dates, that's grim.
It happens.
No, I think
it's more regular than
I think it's very fair what he did, as in he said, we got along, but we went on a second date to see, and then I realized after the second date that it wasn't there. So I think he did the right thing messaging her, because I don't think many people would do that. I think the opposite would happen. I think most people just the easy way out. You go 2 dates, I'm never going to talk to this person again. Just brush it off. And
also, once someone's kind of gone, oh, I'm not really interested. Like, why do you want to then drag that out? From the other side,
it does seem like an odd one, and that it's never really going to assist you. You might hear something you don't hear, which will then play on your mind, and you might be insecure, self-conscious about it, whatever it may be. Yeah. So I think you take that message, you say thanks for the good time, and
put it to bed.
Keep looking.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think that you have to give them anything more. If you wanted to, go nuts. Like, if you could be bothered sort of opening that can of worms, and you never know, you might say something and there might be another question come back, and then you answer that, and another question came back, and you might just sort of be hanging on to this thing that you were ready to let go of after 2 dates. So I personally think that you did the right thing, and you don't have to have to continue.
I think you can
explaining yourself to.
Yeah, I agree with Locke for once.
Nice. You agree with me for once.
Yeah.
Oh.
We don't often agree.
No, I think we do.
Not on ghosts.
We're normally on the same page with cheating and stuff when it comes to these questions.
True.
I think you just like disagreeing with me. It's more fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys. If you did have any questions, qualms, queries, anything going on in your life you wanted to us to discuss on the pod, you can write in to madaboutyou@novapodcast.com.au. As always, it's a bloody pleasure having you with us, and we look forward to having your ears with us next week.
Thanks, guys. Don't forget to leave a review if you enjoyed the pod, and we'll see you very soon.
Bye.
Xylophone.